Good evening, folks. This is Deb Delapiano. It's time for yet another Shut the Fuck Up. We're going to start out tonight with the big guy, okay? The man who owns the Republican Party from a distance, even. I know that he is the presumptive nominee for the GOP. I get that. God only knows, God only knows how he got there, all right? He had plenty of enablers. But Donald Trump now, ever the grifter, has got a new scam. He is now selling God Bless the USA Bibles at $59.99 each. Okay? And I'm thinking this is just yet another grift from a man who's got a long line of grifts, because he has so many legal bills. No matter what you're reading, okay, about his stock going through the ceiling, his Truth Social stock going through the ceiling. Social media stocks are very iffy to begin with. He could fall apart at any time. And this whole merger thing with Truth Social sounds like a giant Ponzi scheme to me, all right? But be that as it may, he's grifting the public now for Bibles, and he's autographing them. You know, I have an interview I will post in the YouTube version of this video. He was on the news, and they were asking him, well, just tell us what your favorite Bible verse is. And he couldn't. He couldn't. Of course, he feigned that he wouldn't want to discuss that publicly because it's very personal, and the Bible's his favorite book. He really just doesn't want to get into it. That's because Donald Trump has never read a fucking Bible verse in his life. He's never read a parable. He's never read a letter to the Corinthians or to anybody else. He hasn't even looked at the Bible. He doesn't give a shit about the Bible. Okay, what he gives a shit about is the money he's going to make from those Bibles, based on the fact that he has a bunch of hapless, dim-witted followers who are ready to fork over their welfare money to keep him in power or to return him to power. But in their minds, he's never been out of power, quite frankly. So Donald Trump, you can shut the fuck up with the pious bullshit. Right? You've never touched a Bible in your life except to hold one up with a price tag on it. Number two, Tulsi Gabbard, the former rising Democratic star turned Putin-esque GOP MAGA dimwit, okay? She has apparently checked all of her little gray cells at the door in the pursuit of money. That's really where we're going here, okay? She has a woman who ran in 2020, dropped her candidacy, and endorsed Joe Biden, is now full on MAGA, setting up lighthouse keeping on Rumble, being interviewed by Tucker Carlson, and, just grifting off again. The right wing is, you can get people to pay you for premium content. And the right wing's premium content amounts to lies, innuendo, and grifting. Okay? What does Tulsi say now? Joe Biden's not running the nation. It's Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. I got some bad news for you, Tulsi. Barack Obama is busy winning Emmys, making movies, and enjoying his life, retired from politics. Yes, he is going to come back to try to help Joe Biden get reelected. Absolutely. But he is not running the country. Joe Biden's been running the country successfully since he was inaugurated, no matter what anybody thinks. None of the things that have happened here, none of the infrastructure bill, none of that, okay, has been accomplished with the help of the Republican Party. They have actually stood in the way of all of it. But then they will stick their grubby little hands out and try to take credit in their own districts for projects that come their way. Why is that? Because Joe Biden is everybody's president. He doesn't play those games. So Tulsi Gabbard, who was on RFK's short list for VP and is probably on Donald Trump's short list for VP. I don't know if that'll be where she winds up. I doubt it. She's another has-been. All right. I remember her and her husband singing John Lennon's Imagine in their, their Aloha days. And now, they're singing the same tune that the Candace Owens and the rest of the MAGA nitwits are singing. Tulsi Gabbard, you're a has-been. Shut the fuck up. Let's move on to John Kennedy, the senator running for re-election in Louisiana in his folksy little down south, twang, I guess we'd call it. He just made a campaign video, and these are the things he's saying. The left thinks that by defunding the police will stop crime. Well, the fact is, John, the Democrats have never defunded the police. In fact, it has been proven that the Democratic cities spend more money per capita on police than the red run cities. And it's also a fact that crime is higher in the red run cities, despite their supposed law and order mentality. That's number one. He also asserts that the left thinks that vetting people at the border is racist. Actually, no, we don't. But we do think that allowing them to drown in the Rio Grande is racist. Absolutely. And by the way, John, you sit in the Senate where the second most conservative senator in the Senate wrote the recent border bill, which was squashed by Donald Trump. Because when Donald Trump says jump, you morons say how high. Not only did the House turn on that bill, but the Senate, which worked feverishly on that bill with the Democrats, blocked that bill. Because why? Because the orange blob told you to. So you can shut the fuck up on that one too. Number three, the left thinks that government employees have a constitutional right to talk to 5-year-olds about sexuality. You know what? I live in just about the biggest, baddest, bluest state in the union right now. I live in Massachusetts, okay? Out of 160 legislators in this state, House legislators in this state, 133 are Democrats, okay? 34 are Republicans, 1 is unenrolled, and there are no independents. So we are blue. We have 40 senators. 36 are Democrats. 4 are Republicans. I can tell you, I put 2 kids through school here. Nobody talks sexuality to 5-year-olds in the state of Massachusetts. So I don't know what ass he's pulling this one out of. But this is a common talking point for the GOP. Nobody is talking to 5-year-olds about sexuality anywhere in the United States, despite Mr. Down-home Twangy Twang's bullshit. So he can shut the fuck up. But the best part of this whole video, and I will put the video in, is his assertion that jellyfish, he's, accounting for the longevity of the left-wingers, who he calls stupid, okay? He then goes on to say that jellyfish have been living for 165 million years without a brain. So I did respond to his Twitter post and told him that he's been living for at least 72 years without one. He's another nitwit that can shut the fuck up. And then finally, let me give you a quote here and see if you can figure out who this is. This is a guessing game. The Republican Party continues to lie and swindle its voter base. I, in good conscience, cannot affiliate myself with a party that stands for nothing and falls for everything. End quote. Who do you think that was? You think that was a disgusted Republican? No. It wasn't Mitt Romney, who's left, pretty much walked away. It wasn't any of the others that walked away. That is George Santos. Okay? If that isn't the pot calling the kettle black, nothing is. George Santos, I'd like to remind you, was expelled from the House, a man who faces over 20 criminal counts ranging from wire fraud, conspiracy, false statements, falsification of records, aggravated identity theft, and credit card fraud. That's what I call swindling. George Santos, you can shut the fuck up. I've got at least another 30 here, and we could go on all night, but I got to go. So I will talk to you folks, I promise you, again, real soon. Have a good night.